Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Do me a favor. Um, do me a favor, if you will, invite somebody, share. We're going to dig right in real quick. Um, invite somebody, share. Good to see you all this morning. I am going to do my morning shout outs in a second. Give you a couple of seconds just to invite somebody. Um, I've got my move this chair. Invite somebody. Share if you don't mind doing that for me. Um, so we're going to be coming from Ecclesiastes 11:6. Ecclesiastes 11:6. It says, I'm going to read from the English Standard Version. It says, "Sow your seed in the morning, sow your seed, and at evening withhold not your hand, for you do not know which will prosper, this or that, or whether both alike will be good." The NIV reads it this way: "Sow your seed in the morning, and at evening let your hands not be idle, for you do not know which will succeed, whether this or that, or whether both will do equally well." And today we're going to be talking about finding what works. So we're living in an ever-changing society. This world has basically changed in so many different ways, and we're still experiencing major change in major areas every day. The unemployment rate is extremely high. Got a report last week, read a report, over 40 million people are up for eviction. The unemployment rate is high. Over 40 million people are up for eviction. And to add to all of that madness, many of us don't know what life is going to look like on tomorrow. So, life as we've known it in days past is gone. And we have got to readjust to this new way of living. We have to readjust to this new world. We have to readjust to this new age. We're in an age. We're in an age where things are changing quick and fast, and only the strong will survive. The death rate because of the pandemic has climbed extremely high. So how do we make it, man? How do we forget succeeding on a high mountain? Many of us just need to know, how am I going to make it today? Everything's going up but payroll. And I've got some simple things that I want to share with you this morning. Hopefully it gives you some comfort, some answers. So, in short, there are two things that we're supposed to do according to Ecclesiastes 11. And I done talked this entire time without this mic. Forgot all about Buddy. There are two things that we are supposed to do. Two things we're supposed to do in life. Number one, the first thing that you've got to do is you got to do what you got to do. What do you mean, do what you got to do? Well, it's kind of simple. You do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do. With the world that we are living in now, You got to be creative. You're going to have to be creative as to how you're going to eat. When things change around you, when things change around us, it requires for us to change. The world has changed, and then there's still so many of us that are trying to remain the same, and we're trying to operate in a new era off of old times. The world that we knew before March is gone. We're in a new world, and it's going to require us to make adjustments and do new things. So the first thing that you need to do is you got to be creative. You got to be creative. What is it that you can do from your home where you don't have to acquire extra space to spend extra money? But what can you do from home that can generate an additional income? What do you know? What do you do for your job? Oftentimes, the answers that we're looking for are right in our hands. If you work for, let's say you work for a bank, then you've been skilled in the banking industry. You can learn more about banking and help direct others outside of the bank on what they need to invest in. There's all kind of information, sweep accounts. A lot of people don't know about sweep accounts. Many people don't talk about sweep accounts. Sweep accounts is old. It's basically where the bank takes your money, they invest it overnight, and before you wake in the morning, your money's back in there, but they use your money to make money. There are things that you can do within the field of your occupation outside of your job. You can start doing online. You can start doing through phone calls. You can start doing on Facebook to help render service to other people. And through this service, you can monetize those things. Now, let's look at. I want us to. I want us to look at. I love the New International Version of Ecclesiastes 11:6, and this is the only scripture I'm going to read because this is the one that I want you to. I want you to leave with. I want you to leave with this in your heart. It says, "Sow your seed in the morning, and at evening let your hands not be idle." What does that mean? Go to work in the morning. Do what you got to do. If it's cutting yards, working at a daycare, working for the bank, corporate America, whatever you got to do, you're working from home, you're going in the building, do what you have to do. Sow your seed in the morning, and at evening, don't let your hands be idle. Find something to do. When you get off work, I know you say, well, I'm tired. I've got to help the kids. You're going to have to create an additional 30 minutes to an hour, rearrange your schedule to give yourself 30 minutes to an hour so that you can sit and work on something that you can monetize to help bring income in your house. So many times we're praying for financial increase. God send it, God send it. And we're sowing and we're giving, we're sowing and we're giving. But the return is not ongoing the way that we need because we need another source of income. I'm here to help you today. Your other source of income is in your hands. You've got to be creative. You've got to become creative, and you got to sit down, list the things, get your pen and a notebook, and sit down and write, what are you good at? Write 20 things that you're good at. If you can find the problem, people pay for answers. I'm going to say that again. If you can find the problem, people will pay for the answer. The only thing that our jobs are is we're the answer to somebody's problem. The more answers you give, the more problems you solve, the more money you can make. God is not against you making money. God is not against you prospering. God is not against you being rich. He's not. But you've got to do it by the work of your hands. Now, in finding a problem and being the answer, let me give you some help. Make sure, if it's a business venture, entrepreneurship, make sure that your product is already selling what your overhead has become. I'll say it again. make sure your product is already selling whatever your overhead is. So for instance, if I'm going to open up a cookie shop, all right, um, I've got to figure out if I'm going to move into a building, let's say the building is $1,500 a month, how many cookies do I need to sell just to make the rent? All right. After I make the rent, how many cookies do I need to sell to pay myself, to pay my employees? How many cookies do I need to sell for materials, ingredients, everything that I need? Your cookies should already be selling, and you should already have a budget. You should already be making money off of what you're doing. If you don't look at it that way, and you're going to step out on faith and you're going to start this business that has an overhead in a pandemic, you better make sure you put that cookie factory somewhere where people love cookies. Don't you go to Regency Mall not to sell cookies. Don't go to Orange Park Mall not to sell cookies. Why? There's not a market there. The people, the demographics of people that you're looking for are people who want to buy cookies. Teenagers hang out at Orange Park Mall, and it's almost desolated out there. I mean, shops are leaving. It's a hangout spot for kids. So if you're going to put a cookie spot there, it better be the cookie spots that fits the demographics that are there. Whatever your product is, there needs to be an audience for it. If there's not an audience for your product, then what you're producing is in vain. You can have the right product in the wrong market. You can have the right product in the wrong location. You can have the right product in the wrong people. You've got to figure out how to take your product and align it with the right people. When you have the right product, you have the right people, you will have success. There's so many people that have brilliant ideas that have launched. I'm one of them that have launched things in Jacksonville, and Jacksonville just isn't the market for it. This is a very unique market. You've got boutiques on every corner, online boutiques. What's going to make your boutique different than everybody else's? What's going to make your cookie shop different than everybody else's? What are you going to offer at your daycare that they can't get somewhere else? If you don't stand out, people will pass by you. If people don't know what you're offering, they don't know where to spend their money. So you got to make sure that you have the right product. Then you've got to put the right product in the right place. When you put the right product in the right place, you begin to answer the need of the people. That is when success takes off. So Ecclesiastes 11:6 warns us. It tells us, sow your seed in the morning. In the morning, do what you get paid to do. Do what you have to do. And in the evenings, don't let your hands be idle. In the evening, you should be creating. You should be doing something that speaks to what's in your heart. There are a lot of things that I want to do. There are a lot of things that I've got my hands on a lot of different things, books that should have been out. I'm behind schedule, behind time on that. I've got it on a couple of other things, and there's still things that I'm still dreaming about. And the problem with my dreams is by the time I'm able to dream them, and I have so many things that I want to do, I don't all the time know how to place things. So what I've had to do is invite certain people in my circle that I trust, that I love, who've been successful business owners, entrepreneurs, and I've had to pull on their wisdom with where to place it. You think I should do this now? There's a scripture in the Bible that says that in the multitude of counsel, there is safety. If you're going to save money, keep from blowing money, and keep from wasting time, you need counselors around you. You need people that can help you. You need people that can speak into what you're trying to do. You need people that can give you information as it relates to demographics. And let me tell you something else. Here's the other thing that you need. You can't be so stuck, stayed, and stale on your vision that you're locked in on your vision and you are not a resource for other people. You becoming a resource for other people, you helping other people will become the source that God uses to bless the things that your hands are on. One of the things that it's not hard for me to get the support. Now, the amount of support that I need is challenging at times, but it's not hard for me to get support. Why? Because I've been there for so many people. There are so many things that I've done to try to help so many people, even when it was unpopular. You know, the internet world, social media, these shows, that stuff is new to some. I'm 8 years in. God be praised for the grace that He's given me, the strength, the endurance. 8 years in, it's not new to me. And because those seeds have been sown, in some regard, the grace of God has brought harvest. Some fruit is there, but I'm still tapping into new areas, so I'm still creating new ways to give. It's our giving to others that creates the portal, the birth canal, the conduit for God to exchange His gift with us. Supporting other people gets you support. I'm so listen. I'm sometimes devastated at the amount of support that people ask of you on social media. They want to hijack your page to produce and promote their product, which is really not a problem. But at the same time, they don't want to offer any assistance and help in the things that you have going on. I think when it comes to the world of social media, we have to be careful about who we solicit support from, especially when we don't have a relationship with that person. We've not helped that person. No, you don't get an opportunity to eat off a tree you didn't plant unless the owners invite you in. So you got to make sure you got to make sure that you're operating in the right principles, that you're doing the right things. You can't just share all. You got over 1,000 Facebook friends and you're telling everybody, put this on your page. Do you have a relationship with them to be able to ask them that? What gives you the authority to ask of them to help promote your idea? When you sit down and you look at that, you're going to see exactly how small or how large your world really is. You'll see areas where you need to give more of your time, areas where you need to give more of your service. You can't ask anything of people and you've not put yourself in position to give. The law of reciprocity, be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man, woman, when it talks about man, it's talking about humanity, soweth, that shall he also reap. So you got to make sure that you planted in the vineyards where you're trying to post for service. It doesn't take many people to shut your business down. You get the wrong report in the mouth of one or two. The number one reason of how information is transferred is still by word of mouth. So you give one or two people a bad experience, I can guarantee you kill 200 or 300. And it makes it that much harder for you to bounce back and win more people because the bad or the wrong report is out on you. These are things that I've had to learn as I grow. I've learned some the hard way, some I've heeded to wisdom, but these are things that I've learned along the way. So sow your seed in the morning. And in the evening, do not allow your hands to be idle. In the evenings, there should be a time that is set aside for you to dream. There should be a time set aside for you to work on your dream. There should be a time that you set aside to create an idea, be creative, get in your element, whatever that takes. Nothing inspires me more than when I hear inspiration or see someone in their zone. I don't care what if it's music speaking, motivational speaking, business on. When I see a person in their zone, I love that. I love seeing a person in their zone because that person has something to offer that nobody else does. Even if you're in the same lane, you can be in the same lane and drive a different car. Nobody can do it the way that you can. But in order to launch anything, there are some things that you have to do ahead of time. One of the things you've got to do is be creative. Spend some time being creative. Now, let me tell you this. Creativity flows out of rest and relaxation. You can't be agitated, irritated, frustrated, mad, barely getting along, and think you're going to be creative. Either all those things are going to put pressure on you to create, or you're going to have to get you some rest, drink you some water, relax, chill, have a glass of punch, chill, sit down, rest so you can create. Creation also flows out of motivation. When you get motivated, there's a moment where you get this bright idea. Write it down. As soon as you get it, write it down. If you have to type it in your phone and email it to yourself, if you have to use pen and paper, do whatever you have to do. When you get the idea, write it down. There is passion in the idea, so that when you're not feeling yourself, when you're lazy, procrastinating, if you wrote the idea down, when you begin to read it, the same passion you wrote it in will begin to transfer back to you. So you got to write the idea down. Once you write the idea down, you've got to start. You've got to start doing the research. Who else is doing this idea in my reach? Something similar, or in principle. There are business people that I have around me that have their own businesses that are doing good. There are some that have been affected by the pandemic. There are some that has not been affected by the pandemic. I'm having conversations with all of them because there's something there for me to learn. And you cannot be afraid to expose what you don't know, so you can get the information that is necessary to grow your idea. Let me tell you the number one killer of all dreams. What do you think it is? The number one killer of all dreams: we don't open our mouth and talk. How are you going to get help and you've not told anybody you need help? Closed mouths don't get fed. So you got to create a way to get around people that you trust, people that are doing things, and you've got to frame the question where you don't put them on guard when you're asking. Because people are not going to readily share information with you if they believe you're going to be a threat or you're going to be their competitor. So you've got to position yourself, build a relationship before you start trying to pull on their wisdom. Position yourself where you can ask the question, get the answer that you need so that you can launch your idea. There is something more that all of us can do that we can monetize off and bring wealth to future generations. You got to find what works. Let's go back to Ecclesiastes 6:11, the NIV. It says, sow your seed in the morning, at the evening, let your hands not be idle, for you do not know which will succeed. There are so many people that become so arrogant once they make it. Once you get a system that works, just because the system works today and it's worked the last 10 years, it doesn't mean that it's going to survive the storm. Some of the greatest shows on earth, some of the greatest radio shows that I've ever heard, some of the greatest TV shows, some of the greatest churches are struggling now. Why? Why? Largely in part because our world has changed. The other part of that is so many times we get stuck in success that we keep from doing the things that it took for us to get to where we are. Listen, there is work involved in everything that we do. There's work involved. And if you're going to continue to get better, you've got to continuously tap into new resources and keep relationship with people, because people is your greatest commodity in life. I'm going to say that again. People is your greatest commodity in life, because it's the information that you need that's in people through their experience, through their knowledge, whatever the case may be, that is going to cause you to get wealthy and cause your idea to work. So you don't know what's going to work. You don't know whether it's going to be this. You don't know if it's going to be that. So you got to put your hands on multiple things. I know the old school way is get your job, get your job, stay on that job, and work towards retirement. Yeah, That system doesn't necessarily work in our world anymore because most companies aren't offering they aren't offering retirement. They aren't. Most companies you can't retire. They're not offering it. Why? Because they're not going to pay you out. So you're going to have to create something that is going to be able to stay with you so that when you're dead and gone, future generations can eat. Here's the other thing. I'm going to give you this. We don't know where grace is going to fall. I hear so many people talking about, I'm a successful this, I'm a successful that. And I never hear the grace of God come up. I don't care how good you are at what you are, how well you work what you have. If it's not for grace, if God doesn't give you grace, if God doesn't keep some things from you, if he doesn't, if he treats you like you treat, if you don't have grace and mercy in the mix of what you're doing, then what you're doing is not going to last. At the end of the day, no matter how good you are, it's the favor of God, it's the hand of God that overshadows what you are not, that causes success to come to your dwelling. So you don't know what's going to work. So as many as ideas you have, execute all of them. Some ideas you would get and you would have to forge out. You have to give it to other people. Every idea is not for you, especially if you are a creative. Creatives create, but everything that you create is not for you. Some of these ideas you can sell. Some of them you can give. Some of it you can barter and say, hey, I'll give you this idea if you give me 10% back. You got to know how to work the thing. You don't know what's going to happen, this or that. So you seed in the morning, at the evening, let not your hands be idle, for you do not know which will succeed, whether this or that, or whether both will do equally well. There's a possibility that everything that you put your hands to can work. There's a possibility it won't work. You won't know what's going to happen until you get busy and get in motion making it happen. There's a terrible lighting problem that is really getting on my nerve. You don't know what's going to work until you get the vision in motion. You don't know what's going to work until you get the vision in motion. It's when you put the vision in motion that you're able to judge what fruit it brings. So this morning we're talking about finding what works. Ecclesiastes 11:6 is our foundational scripture. All week long, I want Ecclesiastes 11:6 to be in your head. I want it to be in your heart. I want you to quote it. Let me give you the 3 steps. Write the idea down. Expose yourself to somebody else that has the idea in motion, whether it's in fact or principle. Now, let me draw a line in fact and principle. So if I'm going to go into any type of business, I can talk to anyone in business to find out exactly what they did to get into business. And I can learn from them, even if it's not my field of business. I can still talk to a business owner and be able to grab wisdom. So that's getting it in principle. All right. Fact is, you find someone in the field that you're going or doing the same thing that you desire to do. And listen, tell that person, if I could, I just want to volunteer some hours because I want to learn this, because one day I want to do this. You don't have to go too deep into your plan of when you're going to do it, where you're going to do it. Do things right. See if you can get some volunteer hours. See if they're looking for extra people. Now, don't be nasty. And then you set up shop a few blocks from the person that you were trying to get wisdom from. Don't set up shop in the vicinity or neighborhood from the person that helped you. That's shady. That's shady, and you will not increase. What brings increase is not necessarily what we do, but the principles that we enforce. You have the right product in the right place, be operating in the wrong principles, And those principles will cause you to shut down shop. Got to do stuff right. There's a courtesy also that we owe each other. If I have a hat shop, I've poured into you so you can start your own hat shop. Why would you come in the neighborhood of where I'm drawing clients to set up your hat shop? Use can I say it the way we say it in the hood? Use a old shady something. That's shady. You shouldn't want to do that. Here's what you should do. Go find another area outside of where I built my business and start from scratch. Don't build your business off my back. That's not right. It's not right. The world is big enough. The city is big enough for you to take that business anywhere. If you really believe in what you have and you're trusting the God that we serve, you believe that mercy, grace, favor is going to be working in harmony with you. You can go where there is no market and spring up a well. You gotta have integrity. You gotta be integrable. Can't be shady. People don't like you when you're shady. Not only do you enforce the wrong principle, the Bible says you'll be brought to poverty, he that dealeth with a slack hand. It says it just like that. I'm gonna read it for you. Sometimes this Bible thing doesn't open, this app. I don't know why it takes so long. I'm going to read it from the ESV. It's Proverbs 10:4. And it says, in the English Standard Version, it says, a slack hand causes poverty, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich. I'm going to read it from the NIV. Lazy hand make for poverty, but diligent hand brings wealth. King James says it this way: he becometh poor that dealeth the slack hand, but the hand of the one of the diligent maketh rich. It's talking about two things here. It's talking about lazy people, and it's talking about fraudulent people. When you are a fraud and when you are lazy, your evidence is going to be broke. Nothing's going to work for you. But if you do things right, the scripture promises you're going to be rich. You're going to succeed. So you got to do things right. You got to do things right. You've got to communicate. You just can't take it for granted. Go into that area, get to know the people in that neighborhood, find out what other businesses are there that do what you do. Make yourself known. When you execute the right principle, let me tell you something. God will sit on what you do and command success. So let's go back to our three things. The first thing is, when you get the idea, write it down. All right. Be creative, get the rest, get whatever you need, motivate yourself to get the right idea, write it down. The second thing that you need to do is you need to get around someone who's executing that idea or something in principle. The third thing that you need to do is research and marketing. Just because it's a great idea, just because you're excited about it, that doesn't mean that's what the market needs. Sometimes in order to sell this, because that's your main thing, you may have to sell that, which is not your main thing. Let me give you a story real quick. Charmaine Stevens, I like that. Oh, y'all are talking good. Gary Randolph, that's my brother. He says, God bless you, pray my strength. Yeah, man, you better believe it. Charmaine says, have integrity and be a people's person. I like that. We're going to talk about being a people person next. Let me give you this. Let me Let me give you this. I was getting ready to say something and I totally forgot. Started reading the comments. Can y'all help me? What was the last thing that I said before I started reading the comments? Hey, it happens. I'm human. I totally forgot. I am drawing a blank. Can somebody help me? I promise you, if you tell me what it was, it's going to lead me right to the path of where I was going. Um, oh, I know what it was. Thank you, God. I got it. Let me give you a story about Pepsi Cola. Dr. Gwynn, thank you for joining us. Ewing, thank you for joining us. Oh, let me say this real quick. Let me say this real quick too. Connect with people and tell them what you have to offer. Right now, right now, Dr. Ewing is an educator. She has a PhD. So she, that doctor, she earned it. She didn't get it from one of these little bootleg colleges that give out honorary. She's an educator, a mentor. Uh, she's a life coach, and she writes books. In fact, one of the books that I'm getting ready to publish, a lot of that I've had to use her skill. Now it's gonna cost, but if you can't invest in yourself, don't you ever ask anybody to invest in you. People that sell stuff are some of the cheapest people. Now you want to sell me something at top dollar, but when I tell you what my services cost, you don't want to pay the freight. Come on, people. We got to get beyond that and be better than that. All right, so keep that in mind. Some of you all, especially if you're writing a book, you need to hire her. She's also a ghostwriter. I'm writing my own stuff, but she does it all. So see her. She edits books. She does it all. I'm telling you, and she's good. I'm using her. Okay, I'm one of her clients. All right, let me give you this. In the 80s, Pepsi Cola was getting ready to go out of business. Coca-Cola was beating them down. They couldn't sell Pepsi. Y'all remember the Pepsi challenge? So what Pepsi Cola decided to do, they purchased KFC, Pizza Hut, and Taco Bell. Well, they weren't in the chicken business, they weren't in the pizza business, and they definitely wasn't in the taco business. It had nothing to do with chicken, pizza, and tacos. They purchased those franchises so that they could move Pepsi in it. And to this day, Pepsi is the number one selling drink when you look at them in Coca-Cola. Sometimes you have to sell that in order to sell this. Sometimes the idea that you have has to be packaged differently. You can't be afraid to mix things up, change things, and collaborate, barter with other people in order to push your product. I last week, y'all listen, man. When I tell you God is everything plus, there is a multi-billion-dollar corporation that does branding, marketing. They've done some things for me as a client. Well, I have a little small branding and marketing company. Some of you all know about geofencing and how you can literally direct traffic to make people come to where you are by zip code, area code. It's not this broad stuff just posted on social media. No, no, no. It finds the people that are looking for you and it puts you in their path. Now, it's up to you to sell it, but they will get you known. So I have a business that, that's what we do. We've been doing it for quite some time and been very successful at it. But it got to the point where some of the accounts that I got were too large for me to handle and provide them the service that they needed in a timely fashion. So I partnered with this multi-billion marketing company out of town near Canada. That merger not only brought me more business, but it is now I'm able to do more and get more clients, build websites, apps, logos, designs, flyers, anything that your business needs to be seen. We can also develop a footprint that anybody that expresses interest in your field, we can put you in their path. I'm good at it, but they're geniuses at it. And last week, 2 or 3 days, I was just in training because they were introducing me to more product and things that we're going to be able to offer on this end. You can't be afraid to connect with someone who does it better than you. You can't, you know, I love our people. I really do. I love our people. And when I say our people, I mean black people. I'm going to turn that clock off because I'm supposed to be done, but I got to give you this. We can't be so egotistical in naming our stuff, and we want everybody to know that we're the CEO and we're the head honcho in charge, that you sacrifice the business and the brand in exchange for your ego. When people don't like you, they're not going to like your business. I don't care what you offer. So you may have to partner with somebody else who has a better name, who has a larger reach, who has a better product. I think we are so interested in being seen that we miss lower hanging fruit because we're really not interested in becoming successful. We're interested in building something that's going to build our ego. I don't care who's in charge. I'm trying to build generational wealth and create opportunities for others so they don't have to go through some of the things that I've had to go through in my life. So sometimes if you're a boutique, maybe there's a merger that you need to do. Maybe you need to hook up with a barbershop, a hair salon. People are going to come there and get their hair done. If they're coming to get their hair done, they got money. They can see your stuff. And this is how you have to leverage relationships and other business opportunities to be successful. You may have to do the initiating. It may be a situation where hey, I have this boutique. I cannot afford to pay rent, but here's what I will do. I give you 25% of profit share. 25% of everything that comes in. If you allow me to occupy this space, I will give to you. You get 25% of everything that comes in. Well, now they're part owner. And you sign a contract. Let's try it, see how it works for the first 6 months, maybe the first 12 months. If it works, fine. If it not, pack up and go somewhere else. It's not the end of the world. Winning requires wisdom. Wisdom requires people. You gotta love people if you're going to be in the servicing people. If you're not a people's person, you better find something that make you. You better fool them, because people don't have to spend their money or their time with you. They don't owe you anything. You want to be attractive to people. You want to be pleasant. You want to say words like, thank you so much. Thank you for your time and your business. Hopefully this experience has been great. You want to follow up with them, maybe through email. We recently saw that you were shopping with us, or that you paid us a visit online. How was your experience? And get their input. Their input makes you better. You can't take stuff personal. Well, when I came in, you said that you opened at 9, but there was a sign on the door that says you wouldn't be there to 9:30. Well, I had a doctor's appointment. I had some stuff I had to do. You can't do that and be a business owner. There are too many other people we can go get this product from. Be true to your word. If you're going to open at 9, be there at 9. I stopped telling people what time coffee time was because I knew 8:30 wasn't working anymore. I don't know. I don't know what time it is now because life shifted me. We got picked up by Sony. We got TV shows now. And there are other things that I still have to do so that is funded. Thank God for our generous partners, those of you that give on a monthly basis, those of you that give one time. Thank you. I'm not able to do this without you. You make this possible. Straight up, I can't afford it in and of myself. I don't make enough money to do all the things that we need to do, from music to TV shows to radio shows to all the things that our hands on, t-shirts, coffee mugs, pens, design, all the stuff that our hands are on. You make that possible. And this is why I make myself available to our partners. I bring them in, let you see what we're doing, let you see where we're going. And when I get a new relationship, they get a new relationship. If one of our partners say, hey, I'm going to be launching a business tomorrow and I just need guidance. You are a partner. That is a part of your right. For me to be able to help you, you're helping me. This is how we keep the world moving. Can't be afraid to give. You can't be afraid to receive. And you definitely can't be afraid to ask. All right. Do you all have any questions? This is my Sunday church here. This is what I believe church should be. So I'm gonna give you what I believe God's given me on Sundays at this time, 12 noon. It's supposed to be for 20, 30 minutes, but we went a little longer. Do anyone have any questions? I'll wait because there's a delay. I'll wait. We're still serving our community. We're still feeding the hungry. We're still providing clothes for those who are unfortunate or less fortunate. We're still helping other people as we have always done. Maybe who are in transition. We do that because of our partners, people like yourself. So I don't see any questions coming in. I want you to know that I appreciate all of you. Thank you for joining me this Sunday. I'm not sure what's going on with the lighting, the cameras, the software. I'm not sure what's going on. It has really just drove me about nuts. You see that? It's blanking. And anyway, we'll find out what it is and we'll correct it because it bothers me. But thank you so much for your generosity. Thank you, kind people, for tuning in. Without your ear, I don't have a voice. You make this possible. If I have all this stuff to say to help other people, but nobody shows up, I'm incomplete. You make me complete in purpose, and for that, I am grateful and I'm thankful. Also, it's your generosity in giving, it's your generous giving that causes us to be able to launch out and do things like we're doing Sunday morning. Our Sunday morning service is called It's Encounter Live. It's Encounter Church. That's what we are. Don't let the church fool you. It's not a building. It's a people. We are called out. If you would like to support Encounter, if you would like to give an offering or donation, you can do so. Also, if you're a part of the Coffee Time family, we need your support as well. I'm going to put 2 cash apps up. So let me give you the 2 cash apps and what they for. Encounter Him. That's more to help serve our community. That is what we give to the homeless, people who can't pay rent. That's a part of the Jacksonville Dream Center initiative. Encounter Church, Encounter Live. All of that is one and the same. So when you give, that's where it goes. Sponsor Coffee Time. Sponsor Coffee Time goes to our television program, radio program, our podcast program, We're on 13 platforms of podcasts, about 5 or 6 platforms of social media, and then about 3 or 4 platforms in terms of TV. And we're getting ready to go back into radio as well. So when you give, there's equipment that is needed. There's production that has to be paid for. There's editing. There's product. There's a whole lot of stuff that we have to get in order to be successful at what we do. And when you give to Sponsor Coffee Time, that is where it goes. When there are situations of people in crisis in various places, it also gives us the ability to fly out where they are. So what I do when we don't have the money in our account, I pull out of my personal account to support these dreams. And I can't do it without you. It's the generosity of the people that has enabled us to be able to expand our reach and do all the things that we're doing. And I want you to know that I'm grateful for you. I'm thankful for you. I thank God for you. And I'm believing that God's going to bless you abundantly over everything that you give. You can partner with us on a monthly basis, whether it be $25, $50 a month, $100 a month, $150, $175 a month, $200 a month, $1,000 a month, $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month. Whatever you're able to do, whatever you feel led to do, whatever you can do, able, led, can. I'm able to give $5 a month, and that's not going to hurt me. I'm led to give because this is what the Lord say do, and I can afford to give, and it's not going to put me in the bar. Whatever the case is, you can do that monthly. You can do it one time. So whatever you do, I want you to know it's appreciated, and I thank God for you. All right. That's Encounter Live. Thank you all for joining in. Remember, it's God's will that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prosper. As you go through your week, remember, you're not working alone. God is working with you. You're not fighting alone. God's fighting for you. The more you yield to him, the more you will win in every area of life. You all have a good one, and always remember to think higher, speak life. Love you. Have a blessed week. And don't forget to sow and give. Bye-bye.